All right. That is Moses Bliss featuring Nathaniel Bassi, Kadosh. Anyways, we are back again. Sorry, guys. Now, I told you we have a very important topic today. It is more of a testimonial. Venye nikisema it is from crime to Christ. You know, I know venye na rhyme vifiti. You know, so let us expect a lot from this topic. It's more of a testimonial of the transitioning process or of the change from the world to Christ. You know, most believers tume transition maybe over suddenly, ama wengine tumeenda through a certain process. And today we have one of our good guests mwenye atatuambia like according to him or his experience, how did he transition, you know. And then from his story, it's not just a story per se, but it's like a lesson, it's like a sermon, it's like an encouragement to somebody outside there mwenye baada ya transition. So he will tell us more about how the process was, you know, life alikuwa naishi before kuja kwa Christ, and then the process of transitioning, alafu pia wakati alifika kwa Christ, how it went through, you know. So before I speak much, you know, mimi si guest, I'm just a host. So unajua kidogo ukiongea mingi unaweza shangaa umesema kila kitu yenye guest ilikuwa seme. So I'm going to limit myself hapo. Nitakaribisha my guest introduce, atuambie yeye ni nani, where is he coming from, what course is he doing, and what are we to expect from his testimonies. So you're welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is David Gige, and I'm so excited to be in this place. And wow, it's such an amazing thing to listen to what the Lord is doing to our lives, and I'm so happy and excited to be here. I'm in the School of Arts. That year I take French, and I'm so grateful for that. Yeah, and I have a lot of expectation today, even to learn what the Lord has always carried me through. And I'm expecting to learn from that process also.
Yeah, you know, when you say you're doing French, there's this thing that hit my mind. I was like, sijui nikwambie bonjour, but I'm like, I must try pronounce vizuri because, you know, it's bonjour. It's bonjour.
Oui.
Let me pronounce vizuri.
Bonjour.
Oh, bonjour. And then you need because I've never done that. Anyways, before to get kwa testimonial, why are you doing like French? I mean, like, you know, you are siko ubaya, but I'm like, why are you doing this language like French?
You know, when I was in high school, I found I studied in a day school, no secondary school, and also it's a privilege that I came to Moi University.
Oh wow!
In Nakuru town, and I found that they are doing French there, and I was so excited to do a new language, and I became the best in the school, and I used to go to concerts of poems and these things to do with languages, drama. And my French teacher told me that never leave French, do it, because you are doing well in that language. And because I loved it from my heart, so I decided to do it.
Okay. Yeah. That is really good. That is really good. Probably uko mwisho utatutupia ka French ka sentences hata katatu hivyo ndio tutoke na ingine kwa mfuko, you know. Yeah.
So actually, David, welcome so much to this show.
Thank you.
And the topic is From Crime to Christ. And just to start with the backstory, maybe just you can just tell us that what kind of life were you living before you decided to change? Like uko nyuma, maisha gani ndio ulikuwa unaishi so that you decided that now I want to change? Just share it with us.
Wow, that's a good question. It's a very vast question, but I will share some elements of it. Yeah, first of all, let me begin when I was, first of all, I'm born and raised in Nakuru town. Yeah, so that is the basis of where I started all these things, to do all these things. I went in a school called Madaraka Primary School. And the first thing I want to say is friends. The friends I found influenced me. And you know, as it said, a cliche, a famous cliche that says that bad company corrupts good morals. Yeah, so first of all, there are friends who I met in primary school, and I started living a kind of life where I used to compromise a lot, and we used to do a lot of things that are not good. And another thing I want to relate it by my parents. My parents were so much busy. Unapata like wanaamka asubuhi mapema, then wanaenda job, wanarudi jioni. So throughout the day wametuacha, and you are idle through the day. So you find yourself engaging in a lot of things, and that is when I started indulging myself in things that were not so moral. With now the company that I found, so that is the basics, that is the background, and I would say I used to live a risky life because first of all I associated myself with gangs from that young age.
Gangs.
Wow. Gangs are association of criminals. So associating myself with gangs, because in the area I used to live, it's like slums. So you find out that a lot of people are so idle. So many young people, it's like they are recruiting the younger children to come to these gangs so that they can be members of those gangs. So I was in one called Mikuki gang.
That's like a killer something.
Yeah, truly. And from that young age, I was exposed also to a lot of things, because your parents are not there. They are always busy. My parents were always busy trying to find a living for us, so they have left us at home, and I am the second born. We are 4 in our home. My big sister, then I, then my 2 siblings, and a lady, then a boy. So you find out that you are left alone at home. So I used to do a lot of things. Like sometimes I could not go to school because I know my parents will not know these things. So I used to do a lot of bad things, mostly from that gang. And I was like a stooge, following people even without thinking the repercussions of that group. And I remember, so these gangs were based mostly in violence. Zilikuwa zile gangs zenye, like protecting one another. They are like security gangs. So if one of them is messed in that gang by the other gang, because there were several gangs, so fight could occur. Mona, so that is where that is one of the points that I found myself. Another point is that because of that exposure, I used to have a lot of pride, and as a young kid, another thing is that I fell in peer pressure of let me say I was a lover boy. So every beautiful lady in the class was mine. So
wait.
So if you could have touched that lady, I could have killed your life. I mean, I used to be very violent when it comes to ladies. So I used to secure the beautiful ladies of the class. They were mine, and because I had a gun.
You kuna penye hapo umeniwacha, like umeniwacha, umesema you are a lover boy. Yeah. We want I don't know kama mimi peke yangu niko curious, but I want the gist, like nataka kujua how, because from my own, at the back of my mind, I've got like 3 definitions of lover boys. So which one were you?
That kind of a person who loves lecherously. So because you have seen the beauty of this lady and you want them to be yours because of prestige. I loved so prestige because I was proudful. So any lady who was beautiful in the class or around the school, we used to compete with boys. Let us go and hunt that lady and see who will win. And, because I had gangs, I could definitely win them.
And maybe just to ask kidogo, maybe just tell us how old were you, or maybe how young were you? Umesema you were a kid. Tunataka kujua like how old were you then?
Alikuwa na game akiwa na miaka ngapi? Because from what he's saying is like alikuwa na win,
True.
Tunataka kujua hiyo game alianza miaka ngapi?
Alikuwa miaka ngapi?
Nilianza nikiwa hapo class 1.
Class 1.
But because of the exposure, you know. It's a ghetto. It's like it's in Nakuru there is a place called Free Area. That is where I was raised. So it's like a ghetto. So you are exposed to a lot of things. So I used to know a lot of things in that little age. Yeah. So I was exposed from class 1. I think the whole of my primary school.
Wewe ulikuwa tu zile za you spot like ukispot tu ni target.
Na alikuwa na
experience
from class. Experience ilikuwa top notch.
Yeah.
Wow. That, you know wakati huko mimi nikikumbuka nikiwa class 1. Ama ni mimi nilikuwa mjinga nikiwa class 1. Because now you had the courage like you had the courage to approach. You're like nani tuone kama ni Sandra, tuone nani hata nini Sandra wa kwanza. And you're like unaenda because you had the backing of the gang and all that. Alafu alikuwa anakuambia venye you can do it and all that.
Yeah, true. Actually, I also remember many instances me fighting with my friends over a lady, and it was so chaotic. We fight in class, then the teacher comes and he asked us, "Mbona mnachapana? Nani watoto?" Naambia ananyang'anya karo. So serious. Yeah.
At such an early age.
Yeah.
But sasa ni great. Na sasa inatuonyesha like you have ulikuwa na that great experience. Alafu like it was kind of your lifestyle. So maybe you can now share it with us. What was that thing that happened that now made you say that now when nimefika hapana I need to change? What is that thing that happened?
First of all, I would say that I was in a risky ground. Because of the friends that I had, and also the associations that I had and the things that I used to do. I remember that gang Mikuki that I joined. Like you didn't have peace. Why? Because most of the times you like the other gangs used to hunt these gangs because there were a lot of colliding in these gangs and contending. So you find out that ukipatikana and you are from the other gang, wanakupatia chai, wanakupiga. And I remember one day my friend alikuwa Ntogo Muraya missed a hockey stick in his head. And also some cases we had some gangs used to bury their members because of some of them were killed by the other gangs during those violence. And also kuna kitu kilikuwa Ntogo Chorobo, like someone is stabbed at their stomach. So that used to happen a lot in our area. So that used to scare me a lot because first of all my parents had given up on me. Walikuwa wananiambia wewe funzo sasa na dunia. And sasa from that point that part being scared because even when you go out to maybe to loiter around the streets you are not so secure because of the other gang that is having wako na ubaya na nini. So that is how is like it was. And so I feared that. So that was one of the things I said I really need to change because I don't want to die early because I could have died before my death.
All right guys, imeshika imewaka. We'll be back to unleash more of this story. It's wonderful, it's marvelous. I hope mna enjoy so far. It's from crime to Christ, but we want to tell you like kwa huyo mtu hajaokoka, usione mtu ameokoka ni kama hajaifanya dhambi. Today and tomorrow or even some other time we are still telling you that when you ameokoka pia umefanya hizo madhambi. In fact you'll be surprised to realize that whatever the sin you are being accused of is smaller compared to the sin that another believer has committed. So today we are maximizing on the life before Christ, and then we shall talk about the transition period, and then after that we shall talk about now after transition. But before that, nataka our guest atuambie like asiache kitu nje, atuambie hiyo maisha tu out of Christ ilikuwa aje, like which sin was he guilty of before he met Christ. Okay? But sasa yenye linishika moyo, niseme moyo, niseme macho ama masikio. That one of Loverboy. Mniamini tunajua si mimi peke yangu. Kuna mwingine aliachwa hanging because my guest amesema from class 1. From class 1 alikuwa target man. Like alikuwa anafanya target practice. Wako competition. Wakiona nani ako mrembo is like tuone wa kwanza ni nani. Now upande mwingine sisi tukiwa class 1 tulikuwa bado tunalia tukienda shule. So I want our guest atuambie more about how was he doing it, you know, like unajua venye campus pia watu wana target wasichana and they're like nani, like David, unaona yule Jen, nitakuwa kwanza kumongelesha. Let's wait. So I want our guest to tell us more about the part of him being a lover boy. Okay, like how was he doing it?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I remember we used to be with friends and then we see a target. Yeah, it's like you have seen a prey. Then we go hunting. So we say the person who will win that lady, yani bazoo. You know those kind of terms that we used to use. Sign ndio kusema kwa hii group. Yeah, so we used to go and wewe tu ucheze kiwewe, unaenda unachapa mistari and you know I used to have a lot of mysteries. Now I've forgotten. I used to have a lot. Yeah, and also my dressing codes were
zilikuwa top notch.
Top
zote.
I remember I used to compromise. Baka nilikuwa napiga dye like inaitwa aje hii chemical.
So that unataka dye juu.
Bas, so that you can look outstanding and you know you can look attractive. Yeah, so I used to do all these things so that I can win ladies in my life. Yeah, so that was the thing that are some of the things that I used to do.
Okay, now like when you guys were competing, did you have like a target? Like okay, you had a target, but did you have like a prize to be won? Ama the prize was the
prize
the
was
target.
the lady. The lady was the prize.
Like ile wewe bora tumewin.
That is it.
Ama walikuwa zileza mtu amewin. Kesho tunamfanyia hivi na hivi.
Really?
Like I want to know like how committed were you? Like how committed?
You know, in those gangs and groups, whenever you win something that is in a competition, you become the man of the house. Like, you have the say now.
The territory now.
It's like you have the territory.
Yours.
What you say, they will listen. So you know, and then that part of prestige, you want to have a lot of prestige and a lot of pride because you know those gangs operate by pride. You are so proudful. So you say, hey, huyo ni wangu, huyo nao siwachi. Then you go hard, you will make sure day and night you do not sleep so that you can unaenda baka kwao bana. And so that you can win them. And then when you win them, then the mbogi will realize that hey, huyu ndio bazoo, huyu ndio mzee, huyu ndio ule mzee. Sasa unacheki. So those were some of the motivations that used to compel us to do those things. Because when you win that lady, actually I remember in one instance there was a beautiful lady in our village. She used to be called Mo. And you know the village all the villagers want her. And all of us want her. Yeah, so I remember tulikuwa hapo na my friends because I used to also play football. After football tunasema nani mwenye atapata huyo manzi bana. Yani bazoo bana. So and that sense of pride you want and prestige. So I went an extra mile. Nakumbuka hadi nilienda kwao bana. Without bila kuogopa then
like ilibidi
kabisa. Yeah, so that is how we used to do these things.
Now maybe just to take you home, nikurudishe tu home kiasi. Utambia nani ilifika point kenye now your parents they were like now wewe ufunzwe tu sasa na dunia. Like what had you ulikuwa umefanya nini hizo? Like ulikuwa unapitisha vitu gani hizo ndio ikabidi tu sasa wewe ufunzwe na dunia.
Yeah, I remember my mom told me that. Because first of all, I used to beat my siblings. I used to fight with my siblings, most of my big sister. Yeah, I remember at one instance, I beat my sister until she collapsed and I thought that she was dead. And I was like, wow, I've killed my sister today.
That is violent.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of violence and I was so fierce. Yeah, and also arguing with the elderly people. Yeah, pale hivyo, we used to live in a ghetto place. So, watu wakichota maji pale hivyo kwa tap. Ulukwe tu laini. Manze, unaleta shida kwa ploti. So one of the things that led to this was that my mom was so busy and my dad was so busy, and also he was a dipsomania. He used to drink a lot of alcohol. So he had no time for us as children. So we realized that like most of the time he comes home argument with my mom until they have no time for us as children. So that led to me being bitter, because my dad used to come and at home and to cause a lot of chaos. So that built a lot of bitterness in me until I also hated my dad. So my dad could have told me things and I'm like, I will not listen. If I am telling him also to pay my school fees and he's not doing that, I'm telling him to stop a lot of chaos at home, he's not doing that. Also me, I will do what I want.
So ulikuwa retaliate kind of thing.
Yeah, because he used to do that, and then he's trying to warn me. At least I could listen to my mom, but my dad, oh no.
So maybe that whole scenario, like yote kamkuwa mpitia home, ndikafanya now ukajoin now the gang. Or maybe what was the reason of you joining the gang?
Yeah, first of all, my dad used to tell us, msifanye hivi, it's bad. But he himself used to drink alcohol. So I was like, you are saying that we stop doing these things, and you want you yourself drinking alcohol, coming home, causing a lot of chaos with my mother, beating us up. Tulikuwa tunapigwa bana, tunatolewa kwa nyumba. Yeah. So for me, I found my identity in friends, in those gangs, because at home, no identity, because at home it's chaos. So these gangs used to be like a family. You go share with them something and they are like, usijali bro, usijali.
Ani mnatiana moyo hapo
and then they hug you, wanakutia nguvu. Yeah, so that is how I ended up like trusting the gangs more than how I can trust my parents, more than how I can listen to my dad.
Now, is there any day like you are now disappointed after all that you used to do? Kuna siku ushaikuwa disappointed ama you are ever winning, ever catching these people? Like okay, let's concerning hapo story ya Lover Boy, sindio, the ladies, the beautiful ladies in town, the beautiful ladies at the school there. Ushaikuwa disappointed at one point? Yeah,
actually this lady who was the most beautiful lady in our village had broke my heart, and I've never been heartbroken. That is when I knew that God is the only one who can love man.
Kuna heartbreak.
Heartbreak, it's real. Yeah, I was heartbroken. Actually, with a friend. There is nothing much painful than being heartbroken with a friend. Yeah. So that was really.
Okay, so maybe I'm very much concerned with the age. While all these things were happening now, ulikuwa umefika at what age, if you can remember?
Actually, I will say most of my primary school and then a bit of my high school until up from 3 that time. Yeah, I was preoccupied with these things.
Nakwambia, that's hot. That's really hot. Sijui. So Ngige, actually that whole story, like sijui kama ukuwai juu unafanya something wrong, ama the conscious and the subconscious, everything, they were in line telling you that this is the right thing actually you should be doing.
Because of the exposure, at first I used to think it's a norm. It's a normal thing because you are born in ghetto, and then everybody is doing these things. So you are just there and you are like, it's a norm to everybody. Yeah, but when I went to high school, I realized that it's not a good thing. Mostly when I was almost getting to form 4. Unajua ile yenye unasema unaomba Mungu hapo upite mtihani, sasa unaanza kuachana vitu vingine.
Now what about now your siblings? Well, now you've said you have an elder sister and then some other 2 younger ones. What about them? Like ulikuwa unafanya yoyote, what were they thinking? Ama what were they feeling?
Well, first of all, I was like a bad brother. Yeah, to them. Yeah, because of these things that I used to do, because most of my siblings, they were, I can say they were good, but for me, my parts, I was corrupted.
Okay. Ludwig.
Yeah.
You can say something hapo, nasikia story imekuwa moto hapa.
You see, Huyo ndio ametoka wapi?
I see.
It's alright. We're back again. The show is still lively. We are still talking of From Crime to Christ. We are still navigating through the life of a believer before and after the transitioning of receiving Christ. With us is our guest David Ngige, and he was just telling us about his life before he knew Christ. And most of you who are parts of gangs or members of gangs already mshasikia venye kunaenda, na wenye hawajaijua venye gangs na operate pia ndo hizo. And just like I was saying, the sins that we were once guilty of, you know, they are not special than the ones you are guilty of. Okay, they are more in the same line. They are measured in equal measure, because there is no big or small sin. Either way, they are still sins before God. But the grace of the Lord had been sufficient, and it sustained us, you know. And the difference is we ran to Christ. Now, my brother was saying about just like a summary. The life that he lived, mostly gangs, and then he was a lover boy. Yeah, that one I got clearly. The competition, the target. Yeah, he was trying to make a name for himself outside there, trying to build a reputation in the gangs. And you see, along the process, he became violent. You know, ametuambia alikuwa anapiga siblings, like alipiga mwingine hadi akafaint. Ouch, you know. But we thank the Lord akukufa. Yeah, so some of us are violent, you know, some of you might be violent, but this is just to encourage you that tunaweza transition, you know, like my brother transitioned and God helped him through that process. So we are still diving deeper. What I want to know, apart from the part where he was left home and he had he had a lot of free time, like he had to balance things. Kuna pata alikuwa nasema alikuwa mtu wa style, like alikuwa na clad, you know, you say that. What role did the clad play in most of the operations? Because there are people hapo nje, I've met friends or neighbors rather that before watoke kwa nyumba, yani they have to be in their best. Ile tu in their best. Ukiwauliza they're like, mazee leo naweza pata mtu nirudi nayo kwa nyumba. Yeah, I've got a neighbor he keeps telling me that. But anytime, it is very predictable. Anytime ametoka na shot, unajua tu huyu endi mbali, huyu ako tu hapa na rudi. So we are kind of curious that what role does the dressing, like, what role did it play, and what kind of dressing were you like reporting to?
Yeah, you know, one thing is that, you know, fashion is very good to make you look elegant and outstanding. Yeah, so I used to dress so that I can look outstanding and elegant. Mostly juu unajua pale hivyo manzeni mtaani, so you must be outstanding, you must look nice, you must look like elegant. So unapiga ile clad yako best, then you add some ornaments, chains, such like things. Alafu unajua zile vitu zina attract madem, you make sure that you wear them, the hairstyle, una make sure ume cut vizuri, alafu umepiga chemical ama dye vile uta attract wase. Yeah, so I mean fashion has its role to make you look elegant, and that is what I used to do.
Okay, so can you say that most of the ladies that fell for you, like in quotes, can you say that a percentage was because of the fashion?
I can say that because I used to wear also some dangari. A lady liked me because of dangari. Once that lady, and I was wow, you look amazing in this outfit. And I was like, oh, it's okay, so we can match. And yeah, I mean at some point they used to love my outfits.
Maybe just to ask, maybe the money juu pesa lazima ingekuwa hapo. Sijui wale alikuwa nakupatia this money ya ku buy that stuff, the cladding and the everything.
Yeah, I was exposed at my little age. I used to do actually some mjengo. Ama tukipata biashara we do it. Yeah, so we were exposed and kazi za hapa na pale. I remember there was a building that had affluent men. We used to go there and tunachota maji tunawapelekea because that building ilikuwa poa, alafu rich men were residing in that building, but we didn't have they didn't have water. So we used to fetch water and bring it to them. So I was exposed. So for you to we used to look for money so that we can buy clothes and shoes. Actually that was the whole agenda.
So
as to why we needed money.
Kujituma ilikuwa compulsory.
Kujituma ilikuwa compulsory because friends are having new clothes, new outfit, and you needed those things. So ingebidi ujitume.
Oh, that is great. That is great kabisa. At least kama ilikuwa to your advantage to some point. That is great.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious. Like at one point, okay, the choice of music, you know, like there are people that are after being born again. Recently I met somebody na alikuwa ananiambia I met a friend, and this friend alikuwa ananiambia that alikuwa ananiuliza which songs do you listen to. Then I was like gospel. Then ako like kwa hivyo mtu akikuwa born again, mbona anaacha kusikiza zile the songs alikuwa anasikiza? So I'm like, what kind of music were you listening to before, and do you still listen to them?
I used to listen to gengetons and R&Bs, and you know gengetons used to hit. Used to hit, and you are like Silas Gang and all these other. I used to listen to them, and also R&Bs. I used to love Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande's, and you want to be like them. So for me, my role model was Justin Bieber and also Silas Gang. He was called Odiwa Muranga. That man. Yeah. So at some point, music has impartation, and you know those things that they used to do there, we are trying them here, where we are. So I learned that music has impartation, and yeah.
All right, guys, we will be back shortly.